I don't want to start this off on the wrong foot, but I'm a little bit over the Mitsubishi Outlander. It's just that I've lived with it for the past 4 months. Before that, I did a gigantic comparison review where I compared it to all its big rivals. And before that, I was at its launch last year in 2021. I'm a little bit over it. But that was the petrol version. This is the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle version. And that's why I am the best person to show you all through it. Yep, I know this car better than any other car I've driven in my entire career. I could probably build one with my bare hands. I see it like the Matrix. I'm gonna take you in with me. That's right, I'm gonna tell you things that you don't even know you need to know. That's right. If you wanna read the full review, go to carsguide.com.au and give us a like and subscribe. So, the first thing that you need to know is that the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle version of the Outlander costs about $16,000 more than the petrol equivalent. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take you through each grade, the ES, which is the entry grade, the Aspire, the Exceed, and the big daddy of the range, the Exceed Tourer. I'm going to take you through all the features, and at the end I'm going to tell you which one I think is the best. This is the Aspire grade here. I think it's the best value in the range at a smidge less than $61,000. It gets all the entry grade ES's features like LED headlights and DRLs. It has push button start and dual zone climate control, a 12.3-inch instrument cluster and a 9-inch media display. There's also Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay. And then it adds its own features. It gets 20-inch alloy wheels, privacy glass and heated front seats. The driver's is power adjustable, a proximity key, a wireless charger and a power tailgate. At the top of the range is this, the Exceed Tourer, and you're getting up there at almost $68,500. The thing is, for $2,500 less, you could get the Exceed, which comes with pretty much exactly the same features as the Exceed Tourer. So you get the Exceed Tourer's third row of seats, a 3-zone climate control, the power adjustable front passenger seat, a Bose sound system, and a panoramic sunroof. Pretty much all the Exceed Tourer has on top of that is a different coloured roof, massaging seats, and two-tone upholstery. But still, you're getting quilted leather seats in the Exceed anyway. All right, so which is the grade to get? Look, if it was up to me, it wouldn't be the Exceed Tourer. It's the priciest, yes, and yes, it has nice two-tone leather and massaging seats, but I wouldn't get that one. I wouldn't get the Exceed either, even though I lived with that version, the petrol one, for months and months and months. It's got a whole lot of nice things. It's got the shades which go up. It's got 3-zone climate control, all of that. Very nice car. I would pick the Aspire. Now it's a 5-seat only. It's this car here, the one that we've been using today. It doesn't get 3-zone climate control, but it does get a head-up display. It does get wireless charging and a whole lot of other nice stuff as well. It's the best value of the lot, the Aspire. Shh, look what's under here. Ready? Oh, look at that. We've got a 2.4 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine snuggling up to an electric motor. Look at them. That's a bit saucy. Now these guys drive the front wheels, and in the back is another electric motor. It's driving the rear wheels, all-wheel drive. Now what you need to know is that the brake towing capacity of the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle Outlander is exactly the same as the petrol version. It's 1,600 kilos. Unlike a Toyota RAV4 hybrid, which has a petrol engine as its main way of driving the wheels and supported by electric motors, the Outlander is mainly driven by its electric motors and supported by a petrol engine. So this is pretty cool. At speeds of under 70 kilometres an hour, it's the electric motors doing the work. And there's about 84 kilometres of electric driving range in the Outlander's full battery. But when that runs out, the engine powers an onboard generator to put the electricity back into the battery. Regenerative braking adds a stack of charge in the battery too. On the steering wheel there are paddles, and they're not gear shifting paddles. You can flip those to add more or less charge to the battery. But more on that when we drive the Outlander in a moment. Now I'll get more into how it drives later on in the driving section, but let's talk about fuel economy, and we'll leave these two alone. Fuel efficiency, economy. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Well, to be honest with you, one of the things that really bugged me about the petrol version of the Outlander was just how much fuel it used. Out of a full tank, the best I could get was 670 kilometres. Month in, month out, it was about 450, 550 Ks. Now, that's mainly because of the type of driving I was doing. I was mainly doing short trips to the school, to the office, to the shops, that type of thing. I wasn't doing any more than 40 kilometres a day, but that uses, in city traffic, quite a lot of fuel. Now, the hybrid version of the Outlander would suit my lifestyle a whole lot better. It's got an electric vehicle range of about 84 Ks, and under about 70 kilometres an hour, it drives in pure EV mode, so you're using hardly any petrol at all. Now, running along the floor of the Outlander is the battery. It's a 20 kilowatt hour battery. This powers the motor at the front and the back, which turn the wheels. The Aspire, Exceed and Exceed Tourer grades are also able to use the electricity from the batteries to power appliances. Turn the engine on and you've got yourself a mini petrol-powered power station. Now think about how handy that'll be when the zombie apocalypse comes. Oh, zombies don't care about fuel consumption, but we do. And the Outlander plug-in hybrid is super efficient. The way this system is designed, the petrol engine is used as sparingly as possible. It's all about the electric motors. At this launch, we did a 26-kilometre city loop, and the trip computer said we used 0.7 litres per 100 kilometres. I then completely ignored Mitsubishi's specially crafted test loop and did my own one. It was like I'd escaped. My own secret fuel test took me along fast country roads and up enormous steep hills and high-speed motorways. I want to use as much petrol as possible, but at the end of it, I only used 2.0 litres per 100 kilometres, according to the car's computer. That's so low, I was beginning to think it was rigged. So I dived into the Outlander's fuel consumption history and discovered that somebody had set the trip computer almost on the day it was first driven. And over 1,336.9 kilometres of its life, it had used an average of 4.9 litres per 100 kilometres. That's outrageously good for an SUV this size. When I lived with the petrol Outlander, my fuel consumption never got lower than 10 litres per 100 kilometres, and it was often as high as 15 litres per 100. That high petrol usage wasn't surprising because I do a lot of short trips in heavy traffic, and this is an all-wheel drive SUV. So a plug-in hybrid Outlander would suit my type of driving and life a lot better. Now, you are going to have to charge your plug-in hybrid regularly. That means you can use a fast charger like you'd find in a supermarket car park, which has them installed. You could get a wall unit put into your house, which is also really quick. But seriously, it's not a pure electric vehicle, so you can just plug it into a power point at home and you can charge the battery from 0 to 100% in 9.5 hours. So you wake up in the morning and it's fully charged. Just like your phone, you put it on, when you go to sleep, you wake up and it's fully charged again. Day in, day out, you pretty much use no fuel at all. That's pretty good. Oh, the Outlander plug-in hybrid has the same chunky and prestigious good looks of the petrol version. I love the kooky styling of the Outlander's big fat face with the blade-like LED running lights and chrome-like twirly moustache. The tailgate is far more conservative, but still pleasing. Seriously, it's as though the stylist designed the Outlander's front on a Friday and it's back on a Monday morning. Really, the only way to tell the hybrid from the petrol is by the charging port and the badging, of course. The grade we're in here is the Aspire, and it looks different from the entry grade ES thanks to bigger alloy wheels, which are also found on the Exceed and Exceed Tourer. The Aspire has the silver front and rear skid plates, the silver front fog light surrounds, and silver roof rails. I've since learnt it's not actual silver. It's a bit disappointing, but I guess people would steal those bits. The Exceed is only slightly different looking to the Aspire, with a panoramic sunroof and gloss black pillars, while the Exceed Tourer comes with a two-tone exterior body colour. Really a different coloured roof. The Outlander's insides are a bit plain, but still appear premium with plenty of shiny black surfaces and metallic-looking dials and trims. Of course, as you take the elevator up to the higher grades, the interior becomes more luxe in the Aspire, and then onto the quilted leather of the Exceed and the two-tone upholstery of the Exceed Tourer. All right, the plug-in version of the Outlander is the same size as the petrol Outlander. It's a mid-size SUV, but it's a big mid-size SUV. It's about that much bigger than a Toyota RAV4. The boot's big, but it's not enormous. And on the Exceed and the Exceed Tourer, there's a third row. That's right, 7 seats, but those seats are for tiny, tiny little humans. Actually, it's true though, you do have to be quite small to fit in them comfortably. Do you want me to show you the legroom in the second row? You want to see it, don't you? Let's go. Now, legroom back here is amazing. I'm tall, I'm 191 centimeters tall. That's in my driving position, and look at that. I could do all sorts of dance moves back here. Headroom. Now, get the car without the sunroof, okay? Sunroofs are great, but the Exceed and the Exceed Tourer come with a sunroof. This is the Aspire that I'm in, and it doesn't come with a sunroof, and it gives you even more headroom back here. It doesn't get the temperature controls in the back here, but it does have directional air vents. You've got USB ports down there and a power outlet as well. So one of the things I don't like is this. You fold this down to get to the cup holders, it goes right through the boot. What's that all about? Now, another thing that I like in terms of practical features of the Outlander is just the ride height of the car. It's actually not too high, not too low. It makes it easy for kids and adults to get in and out. Now, just like the petrol version of the Outlander, the plug-in hybrid version has the maximum 5-star ANCAP safety rating as well. In fact, it's super safe. We brought our newborn baby girl home from hospital in the Outlander because it's bigger, newer, and has more advanced safety tech than our regular family car. It's pretty safe. Yep, all Outlanders come with AEB, with pedestrian and cyclist detection. There's lane keeping assistance and blind spot warning. But one thing you should know is that the entry grade ES doesn't get rear cross traffic alert, and it also doesn't get rear AEB. But like all Outlanders, it's got rear parking sensors and front parking sensors too. All right, should we go for a drive? Do you want to go for a drive? Let's go for a drive. There we go. Now the cockpit feels exactly the same as a petrol Outlander, only you've got a couple of buttons down here, which I'll talk about later, which are a little bit different. But one of the things I can tell you which is immediately different compared to the petrol version is the way it goes over bumps. Now in the petrol car, when you go over a pothole or a speed bump, it's life-changing. By that I mean, it's really hard. You go boom, boom. In the plug-in hybrid version that we're in today, you go over a bump and it's completely different. It's really comfortable. And that's because they've changed the suspension for this car compared to the petrol. You see, I bailed up the engineer last night, the engineer for the Outlander. He'd flown across from Japan. His name was Mr. Honda. Believe it or not, Mr. Honda was his name, Honda-san. And he told me, I asked him, I said, look, why does the petrol car go so roughly over bumps and why is it so firm? Why is the hybrid so much more comfortable? And what he said was that the hybrid version has different suspension, and that's because it's carrying more weight because of the batteries in the car. And whatever they've done with the suspension, it's fixed it. This car is way more comfortable to drive than the petrol version. Now, when you go around corners, there's still a bit of roll in the corners, just like the petrol version, but they've taken out the harsh bump over potholes, which is fantastic. Well done, Mitsubishi. Just do it on the petrol version now. Now, there are other differences in the way that this hybrid drives to the petrol one. This feels like an electric vehicle in that most of the time It's just the electric motor which is pushing you along. So it speeds at under 72 k's an hour. It drives on electric motor only. It's only when you put your foot down on a hill like this that the petrol engine kicks in. Or if you go over about 70 k's an hour, say, you know, on a motorway or something like that. So for most of the time, it feels just like an EV. And the only sounds you get is sort of like this electric sort of whine in the background. And at lower speeds, it plays this sound to warn pedestrians that you're coming along. It kind of goes womp, 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 womp. It's a bit weird, but it's better than, you know, bumping into somebody. So what else is there that you should know about the way it drives? The brake pedal feels quite spongy, like it travels quite a long way down. It doesn't feel like a lot of hybrids. A lot of hybrids have got like really wooden sort of hard brake pedals, but this one goes all the way in. It's a little bit weird at first, but you don't actually even need to use the brake pedal at all. You've got a button down here that you press. What it does is adjust the regenerative braking. So you can actually make the regenerative braking really high, and that slows the car down without even putting your foot on the brake. So I'm driving like that, I'm taking my foot off the accelerator, and it slows you down to 3, 2, 1, and I'm almost at a complete stop. So you can pretty much drive it with just the accelerator pedal and taking your foot off to slow down. That's a pretty cool feeling. It means you don't need to touch the brake pedal at all, and you're regenerating the batteries a lot faster as well. And you'll get used to that. You'll probably end up driving like that the whole time. The other thing you should know about it is the acceleration's really good. There's another button down here. It's not a button, it's actually on the dial where you can change between mud and snow and gravel and that type of thing. But it's got power, and it's got a lightning bolt on it, and you go to it, there we go, and that just adjusts things so that you've got the maximum amount of power to accelerate, and it's surprisingly brisk. That's good, and that feels very electric vehicle. Electric vehicles have got incredible torque, which gives you really good acceleration, and when you put your foot down in lightning bolt mode, that's the power mode, that's awesome. That's really good. I could get, oh gosh, I've actually made myself a bit sick doing this. That's really, really good. That's fantastic. That's way better than the acceleration in the petrol Outlander. What else should you know? Well, look, like the regular petrol Outlander, it feels quite big when you're sitting in it, and the visibility is not fantastic out of the front here, and the big bonnet kind of gets in the way. It's kind of like driving one of those big cruising speedboats where you've got this big bow in front of you, and you will find yourself sort of looking around it at first. I mean, over 4 months we got used to that visibility really, really quickly, and the visibility out the back is absolutely fine. It's actually really good, and you've got a good reversing camera. But apart from that, it's a really, really easy SUV to drive. Oh, sorry. When it comes to warranty and servicing, the Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid electric vehicle needs to be serviced every 15,000 kilometres or annually. Now, servicing prices are capped and they're quite cheap. For the first 5 years, each yearly service will cost you $299. Now, when it comes to the warranty is a 5-year, 100,000 kilometre warranty. But they've also got a 10-year, 200,000 kilometre warranty if you get it serviced at a Mitsubishi dealer. Now, the battery, which is just under here, has an 8-year, 160,000 kilometre warranty too. Sorry, just gotta do a little bit of servicing. Look, I'm not really over the Mitsubishi Outlander. I actually kind of miss it. And the two things I really didn't like about the petrol version have been fixed in this one: the fuel economy and the ride. Is it worth the extra money? Absolutely, I think it is, especially when you consider how much fuel prices are these days. This is a safe, practical, comfortable, and pretty darn good looking SUV. Don't forget, if you want to read the full review, go to carsguide.com.au and give us a like and subscribe.